this up every time. Okay. Hey, nerds. Today on Fiction Fanatics, we are thrilled to welcome Brynne Weaver. She's a number one Times, New York Times, and USA Today bestselling author behind the widely popular Ruinous love trilogy. Brynne is known for her sharp wit, unforgettable characters, and her ability to blend dark humor with swoony romance. She's now kicking off a brand new series with Tourist Season, a delicious mix of slow burn enemies to lovers, suspense, and dark comedy, all set in the deadly but charming town of Cape Carnage. This book has everything: banter, obsession, danger, and a story that will keep you hooked until the very end. We can't wait to dive into Brynne's inspiration, her writing journey, and everything she has in store for readers. Okay, nerds, get your cookies and creams ready and listen up because we're about to dive in.
Oh my God.
That cookies and cream part was my idea. Yeah, when me and Ash were doing
Has
the
to be in
intro. Has to
there.
be.
Well, welcome and thank you for being
Thank
Yes,
on.
thank
you. Thank
you.
you for having me.
So since most people know you from your Ruinous love trilogy, can you just kind of talk about the success with that? Maybe a little bit of your inspiration, the start of it, and then how now it's like blown up. You've been in book boxes and at book cons and everything. Yeah. Talk about
Yeah,
the whole
sure.
series.
Yeah, so sometimes people think that was my first series, which it's not. That Butcher and Blackbird was my, oh, I always get this wrong. I think it was my eighth book, actually,
Oh,
seventh or
wow.
eighth book. Yeah, so I was in the self-publishing realm before that, and had some co-written books. I have a completed paranormal series, and was getting more and more into like the serial killers and dark romance, contemporary romance type stuff. So when I started writing Butcher and Blackbird, the whole reason I started it was actually TikTok. So I was scrolling, I was like doom scrolling one day, and it was back when there was this trend about like what are your red flags in books and what are your green flags in books. And somebody was she's talking about all of her red flags, and they were all basically like dark romance things that I really liked, like touch her and die, and like he doesn't like anybody but her, and she's kind of like going on and on about these things, and I was like, oh, that stings a little bit. And then she's like, and my green flag is friends to lovers. So I was
Uh,
like, okay, I'm gonna combine the two things and just like see what I get. And like my whole premise for it was like, could I change somebody's mind who is
hmm.
very like set in their thinking, it seems on the surface anyway, about like these things are bad and these things are good. And like, can I mash them up and would I be able to change someone's perception on it? So it's kind of like how I started. And immediately I thought it's gonna be I'd never done an interconnected series of standalones. My previous series was like same couple
Hmm.
throughout all three books. So I was like, I'm going to try interconnected. I had never done like friends to lovers before. It was always enemies to lovers. So that was like book one. Didn't even know when I was starting that, like I knew it would be serial killers. I had no idea that there was going to be like a game, like no concept of what I was
Hmm.
doing. And then I decided I was going to do Marriage of Convenience for Leather and Lark because I hadn't done that before. And then for the last one, I was like, I'm just going to pick some random shit. I just like tossed in a circus because I literally was like, I'm going to put in the craziest thing I can think of, which is like a circus is pretty crazy. I love a circus. So circus it is. Um,
Hmm.
I love motorcycles because I ride a motorcycle. I'd been riding motorcycles for a couple of years at that point. So yeah, I was just like, she's gonna be in the globe of death, and he's gonna be a doctor. Why not?
Hmm.
And then I just like kind of started. I think I wrote like I had a very vivid, I call them like bright. When I talk to my husband about it, I'll be like, I see something that's really bright. I had a really bright scene of her like Sloane being in the cage. So I started with that, started like did the first chapter and a half, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do from there. And then I decided like, oh, I really love like old school horror movies. And I knew I wanted to make it a comedy as well. Like I wanted a dark comedy because that's more like that's what I'm like in real life. Like it's like
Hmm.
dark humor and weirdly inappropriate like humor at bad times, like that kind of um So I was like, I'm just gonna put that all in because even in my last more serious serial killer books, people always said that they loved the little moments of humor. So I was like, I'm just gonna lean into like what I love to do, which is make people laugh at really bad times.
Mhm.
And then I thought, like, what if I kind of like I see things like movies. So what if it was almost like an homage to some of my favorite things, like Texas Chainsaw and
Mm.
Psycho, and so then I immediately got like I saw Rowan and Sloane in front of Harvey Mead's house, and I jumped and I wrote that scene. So like all of Butcher and Blackbird was written in like maybe a chapter and a half, 2 chapters at a time, just jumping all around and kind of knowing what I wanted them to experience as a couple, but just sort of playing it by ear.
Yeah,
I do things, yeah.
that's
That's
so cool.
amazing.
That is.
And
It's
then it just blew up. So out
Uh-huh.
of nowhere, after 2 weeks, like I just threw it onto Amazon. I didn't even have a pre-order. I did all the kinds of things that I would normally do. Like I would send it out to my ARC team. I had a really small following, like 5,000 people, I think. I
Oh,
had
wow.
some TikToks and stuff. And I could tell something was a little bit different about like the way that people were responding to me. Like they would read it and then they would like come into my DMs and they were like, "Oh my God, that's really, I've never read anything like that before." And I thought they were being very specific with their like very positive feedback, which I thought was cool, but didn't really like know that that was like it was a good indicator, but nothing was happening during those first 2 weeks. That was like unusual. And then all of a sudden on TikTok, it started getting picked up by bigger influencers. No like prompting from me. They just picked it up and loved it and talked about it, and it exploded. So
Mhm.
from there, it's just like that was the catalyst for everything, was like that 2 week mark. It just never stopped rolling after that, which was amazing. Yeah, and terrifying.
Yeah,
yeah.
I bet. That is
Yeah.
amazing. Chanel
Mhm.
actually bought me and Stacy like as a birthday
Mhm.
gift
Yeah.
last year
Mhm.
then. It was like a book date thing with like and it was your book. It was Butcher and Blackbird and I was like
Mhm.
this looks so interesting and
Yeah, because
yeah, it's
I had
just
read it and I loved it, and I was like, I knew that they would love it. Yeah, and it was like little bookmarks, like
yeah.
little pens, and that book. Yeah, for your birthday, I forgot
Uh-huh.
about
Oh, that's
that.
so
Hmm.
cool. I love those
Yeah.
date with book.
Yeah,
Those are
Yeah.
yeah,
cool. Blind
It
date
was
book, right? Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, I'll never forget. I was like, "Ah, this is so cool. This book looks so cool. This is different. I
yeah,
haven't read anything like it before."
yeah. And then we just
Yeah.
kept going, kept reading the next
Yeah.
one. And so, yeah, yeah. I forgot about that.
I
Yeah,
can like
Uh-huh.
I can visibly remember reading like the first chapter in Butcher and Blackbird and I was like this is so good. I was like I laughed and I was like it was very interesting and like different. I don't normally pick up like romances all the time and but Chanel was like so adamant. She knows so well what like me and Ashley would like but she was like you're gonna love this and then
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really special. Yeah.
And shout out, and I'm sure you already know this, Brynne, but your audiobook narrators for all three of the
Oh,
books are amazing.
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 So
Yeah.
that also really, on top of obviously the content,
Hmm.
really hooked all of us in because we were just like, yeah, these actors, voice actors are so great. So yeah.
I'm so glad you enjoyed them. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun for an immersive read too. Like I like doing
Mhm.
that with an audiobook and then reading the physical at the same time. It's really
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, yeah. So that was really great. Okay, talk to us a little bit about how you kind of transitioned from this trilogy that you had just finished, and now you're on to your new book, Tourist Season. What was that like, or how did you get that inspiration idea to start something new?
So I've always got like things that I want to do next, even when I'm like tinkering around with like if I'm writing something, there's always like another idea that's kind of like in my head. But this one was a little bit unusual because it actually came from a question that I was asked like early on in B&B after it took off. So when we started going out to entertainment, And I started having meetings with different like people who are interested in buying the rights for adaptation. The very first person that I ever spoke to about this, like in the industry, was Chris McKay, who is the director of the B&B movie now. So he was actually the first person that I spoke to. I mean, he probably spoke to like a dozen different like interested parties or whatever. But he asked me a question about the book, and he was really cool because he had like the book in front of him and he had it all marked up and stuff. And he's
Mm,
like, and what happens here? And what happens here? And like, what happens to Autumn Bauer? And I was like blown away by the question because
mhm,
in B&B, like she's such a small character, but it was like a critical moment in B&B because I wanted to show how Sloane had like empathy and why she was doing the things that she was doing, and that
mhm,
she would literally take her shirt off of her own back for this woman that she didn't know who is in this like very unfortunate situation. But on the other hand, then you have Rowan, who's like he's laser focused on Sloane, right? He does not give a
mhm,
shit. It's almost as though she doesn't exist to him. It's not because he's a bad person, it's just he is so obsessed with Sloane. So really like that was Autumn's only purpose in the book at the time. And he
mhm,
like, Chris just was like, what happens to her? And I was like, I don't actually know what happens to her. I know she
hmm,
gets out, but I don't know what happens to her. And I never let go of that question. So then I wanted to be able to answer that question in tourist season. So that's kind of like I already had an idea for like the vibes of tourist season that I wanted and like the setting, the kind of situation that the leads would be in, but I wanted to be able to use that series to answer that question as well. So that's kind of how it came about. And I didn't realize that I had an answer to that question with that series until I was almost at the end of Scythe and Sparrow. Yeah.
Wow,
That's so interesting.
that is because I wasn't thinking about her either. I was like, slow.
I wasn't either. And then when I heard what tour season was about, I was like, this is
Oh,
so cool because
okay.
I love when like small side characters end up like
Hmm.
something big.
Yeah.
And this is no spoilers, but I'm halfway through tour season. I got an e-arc and I'm so grateful. And I got
I
to a
know.
part the other day and I was texting Ashley and I was like, I am literally like clapping my hands. It had something to do like minor spoiler, just like body parts, like a hand. It was so great. It was so great. It was just like so great. So, yeah, I just love her character already and it's so cool that we didn't know at first that she was going to be a bigger deal
Hmm.
later on. Yeah,
Right.
it's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Hmm.
didn't either. And I love that question so much. And I think that's where a lot of my book ideas kind of come from, are questions that I roll around a lot in my head. Yeah, a lot of them kind of come up that way. Like, what if this happened? Or what if this person was like that? Or what happened to that person? Or my very first like published book that I did was like, what if a person could like hear and talk to and influence animals, and like what if somebody would use that against them, and what would that situation be like? And it's just these like
Hmm.
questions compound and compound and compound, and that's
Hmm.
like where I get a lot of story ideas from. So I'm very grateful to Chris that he like asked this very like this question that really threw me and just stuck and didn't let go, because it was stuck for like 2 years almost.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Wow.
That's so cool. And
Yeah.
like what a butterfly effect kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Like you hadn't written Butcher and Blackbird and it hadn't blown up and you hadn't gotten
Hmm.
like the rights and he hadn't been the director, then it wouldn't have led to
Yeah,
Facebook. It's like so cool. Awesome. I
Yeah.
love
totally. Yeah.
okay, how do you find like the right balance in your books between writing like the darkness with like that dark romance versus like comedy
Hmm.
and yeah, I guess between the two. I don't know if you want like if you obviously sprinkle in other bits, side characters and yeah.
Yeah, I think it's, largely I think it's kind of instinct. Like
Hmm.
I feel like I like a lot of contradictions. So I love to be able to throw in a bit of humor when something is really gory, or like I don't know kind of how it's the magic of it, right? It's just like
Hmm.
some kind of instinct, like, oh, I think I need a joke here. But sometimes I do need to, like when I'm editing it, and going through, and I edit a lot as I go, I'll realize that, oh, the joke is actually undercutting the tension or something. But that's just, and I'll change things, but that's like a vibe. Like it's just come from doing it for a while, I guess.
Yeah.
And a feeling that you get, and kind of an experience also from being a reader and seeing, like, what works and doesn't work in books that you like or don't like. And it's just, it kind of becomes this second nature thing. But I do have a like really weird sense of humor for sure. So I think I
Hmm.
sometimes have to modulate myself a little bit about like that might be a little too much, or might be throwing like the plot off a little bit. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Do your like editors give you a lot of feedback too, where they're like, oh, this is a little too dark here, or this is it's
Hmm.
all from you?
No, it's all for me. They really have never said like it's too dark or it needs more humor or any of that. Like, I think by the time that I submit my first draft, like, well, they've said that it's usually very clean because I
Hmm.
edit as I go, and it's just part of my process because I need to like read back on a couple of paragraphs before I start, and I like to reread things that either aren't, I feel like they're not working well, or I feel like, oh, I really like that and I want to read it again, and just see if
Hmm.
it's like, if I'm kind of misjudging it and actually thinking it's better than it is or worse than it is. Like, I just go back through all the time. So by the time I hand it in, it's like we don't really do much developmental changes, fortunately. But yeah, they've never said like too dark, too funny, not funny in the wrong spot or anything like that. It's more like making sure to bring in specifics, especially with something like Tourist Season and the second book that are really more complex and like thrillery, like making sure
Hmm.
to carry like all the threads through, and like from the beginning or from early on. The
Yeah.
one thing they did say about Tourist Season was he really thinks about strangling her a lot. And I'm like, yeah, he does.
Uh-huh.
Like, do you want
He
to tone
does.
that down? And I'm like, no.
No, I love it
Please
personally.
never.
That's so funny.
He does, but
He's a rich
it's so perfect
in
though.
life. Yeah, just let him live. Living his best life.
Let him enjoy her neck.
Stop.
Exactly. Exactly. He wants to
Stacey.
think about it in all of the ways, okay?
Always.
The first time I read him mentioning something about that, I was like, oh, it's, I love it. Like, it's
Could be
great.
dangerous, could be kinky. We
Yeah,
don't
like, what
know.
are we talking about here? I love
You
it.
never know. And
Uh-huh.
actually, like a weird fact about Tourist Season is that it was meant to be an interconnected standalone at first. That's what I told them I was going to do early on. We never announced that publicly, but internally, I was like, it's going to be an interconnected standalone. And it's great
Mhm.
because they kind of like give me a lot of free reign. So I don't really tell them a lot about what I'm doing. I give them like a couple of paragraphs of like a synopsis kind of, and I say, don't hold me to it because it's going to change. And they're like, okay. So I started writing it with the assumption that I was going to make it interconnected standalones, and I knew who the next couple was going to be. But then as I was going, they just hated each other so much, and I felt like it would be so rushed if I forced them to like fully resolve by the end of Tourist Season. And the farther along that I got, the worse it became, to the point where I was like two-thirds of writing the book, or maybe even more than that. And I like messaged my agent and I was like, so just to let you know, it's gonna be like a trilogy of all the same couple. And she was like, okay. So we told the publisher and they're like, are you sure? And I said, yeah, I'm
Mhm.
sure. So here we are now. It's a trilogy of all the same couple.
That's
That's
exciting.
Mhm.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
It'll
Very
be
cool.
fun. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
You talked a little bit about your like writing process, but like diving deeper, are you like a plotter, outliner, planner, or are you like more spur of the moment, kind of as you go when inspiration hits?
I'm really a spur of the moment. Yeah. So I write every single day. Like I haven't missed a day in 5 years. Even if
Wow.
it's just like a sentence, like there are definitely some days where I'm like, oh, I get this sentence, I'm hungover, I'm doing my sentence or whatever.
One sentence.
Mhm.
But I'm still like, I did it today. And then I go die somewhere.
It
But
counts. It counts.
it does count because at least I thought about it and like,
Mhm.
you know. Um, but yeah, I don't plot anything in advance. That's what
Mm.
was my stopping point before I really committed to just like ignoring the noise and doing it the way that made sense to me. Because I thought up until that point, I had convinced myself that I was doing it wrong in the way that I do it now. When I was
Mm.
a kid and I would write, like I've written novels by hand as a teenager, which I hope have been burned and then jettisoned into space. But I just did it. Like I just sat there and did
Yeah.
it, you know? And I somewhere along the line was convinced that I had to plot things for it to be correct. And that's when I would give up projects because it never gave me I didn't allow myself the flexibility. So now I just do whatever I want to do. I have an idea of where I want the thing to go, but I still just like write the way that makes sense to me, which is often like jumping around. I don't do much in a
Mm.
linear fashion. I might have like 5 different scenes going at the same time, depending on my mood. Like it's a total chaotic mess and it works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's really cool. It's so also so different, like talking to different authors that they have their different ways of doing it. Because I'm sure you've talked to other authors and they're like, no, I have to plot this
Yeah.
out. And it's whatever works for you. So that's so awesome.
And I
Yeah,
Um,
think
I love that about it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's
And I think
awesome.
it's interesting that you thought it was like not the correct way, and now you've just like embraced how you do it and like it, and all these incredible things that have come from it. So I
Yeah.
like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, because yeah, you were probably like, oh, this is how this author does it, and they're
Hmm.
super successful, so I have to be like that. But it's
Yeah.
like, who's to say that they're right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
when it's a creative thing, you just have to kind of like test out different processes that work for you, and not everything's going to work for you. But I think that's one of the things that when people ask me for like writing advice, it's sort of like find what works for you because a lot of people are going to be there to tell you how you have to do it, and then they might not be right. So,
Mhm.
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's such good advice.
Hmm.
Okay, what would you say? I guess you could do maybe a couple of differences between writing for tourist season versus writing in this last series, Ruinous Love.
Differences between them, you mean? Is that
Yes, like
yeah.
either in the writing process or writing the characters or yeah, just plot points. Obviously, plot is different, but
Yeah, I think this one, so tourist season, it was really fun in a similar way to I guess a lot of like first books in a series I'm thinking probably feel similar. Like you've got a wide open like great big white canvas and you can kind of do whatever you want, right? And then
Yeah.
as you get further along it gets a little more complicated even if it's interconnected standalones because then you know you might need to still interconnect them and you've got a world that you've already built or whatever. So in that way, it felt a little similar, but her season is a lot more complex, I would say, than anything in the Ruinous Love trilogy because it is more of a thriller,
Hmm.
as well as like a dark rom-com. So it's got these like subplots that run through it. And then like yeah, it was really fun, had a blast. It was hard, like all books are hard, but it was, you know, it had that additional challenge of the thriller elements. And then the second book, which I finished and I'm editing it now, it was fucking just batshit crazy. Like, I don't know how it
Yes.
happened. It was a fever dream. Like, I've never written anything like that before, where I would
oh,
sit down and I'd be like, I don't know what I want to write today. And it's like the book was screaming at me, like, just write it, bitch. And I'd be like, okay. And then I just sit and write, and this thing would come out, and I'd be like, holy shit, how'd that happen? Like,
Mhm.
because there are so many things that have to be like progressed from tourist season through to the end of the series now, and it was just like bonkers. Like it was so much fun but so bizarre. So yeah, it's a really different series, like having the same couple and then
Mm.
having these like subplots that are pulling through and all these like mysteries and these thriller things and like, yeah, fucking wild. So fun though. So fun.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
I just like imagine you finishing the second book and being like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, it was like, what the hell just happened? Like, there was a scene that I wrote in that book, and I literally remember like sitting down and being like, I know I'm a pantser, but I really think I might have like bitten off more than I can chew today, you know? Like, I know where I'm starting today. And the book was just like, just write me. And I wrote this scene, and it became one of my favorite scenes that I've ever written in a book. And I was,
Mhm.
I don't know how that happened. It's like the book is just got a mind of its own, and it was so fun. Yeah.
That's cool. Very
Amazing.
cool. Okay. Can you, since you're kind of on this, can you give us, without any spoilers, hints about not only tourist season, but this next book that you've written, or maybe even if you have future projects coming up?
So the next one, try not to give anything away.
Yeah.
So the next one continues on from where tourist season leaves off, and you might have heard, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's got quite a crazy ending. So
Oh man.
it's not saying anything more. It picks up like right away from where that leaves off.
Okay.
And there are a lot of moving parts in tourist season that kind of like continue to grow, like Harper's mysterious garden that's been fertilized by very not things that you should use to fertilize with. It just like the whole world kind of like churns and expands, and I can't say anything more than that because then I'll end up giving away like critical
The plot.
details. But yeah, I'm already starting to write the third book, which yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes because it's very early days yet. So
Mhm.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, pivoting a little bit because we briefly touched on it, but can you tell us anything about the adaptation for the Ruinous Love trilogy? I know we talked about like we know Butcher and Blackbird's being adapted. Are the other books being adapted as well?
I mean, that's the hope in the future. It's like you kind of have to do one at a time and see how the
Mhm.
first one goes. Um, but that's definitely the hope. So they could option those, like option Leather and Lark and Scythe and Sparrow at any point really that they wanted to.
Mhm.
So yeah, so it's definitely a possibility, but we're trying to get through the first one, which is quite a massive undertaking. But we're
Mhm.
making like really, I hear it's very fast. We're making fast progress. It doesn't feel fast to me, but that's because I'm used to like, I write a book, I finish it, and in the old days, I'd like just throw it onto Amazon and publish it. So
Mhm.
by nature is a big test in patience for me. But the script, like we already had the first draft of the script, which is in revisions, and we're hoping to be able to get out to casting soon.
Mm.
Ideally, I mean, summer, we were originally hoping for summer, but it's kind of like a lot of crazy shows happening. So yeah, I think as soon as possible. But the good thing is that like the producers, the director, like Chris is so just enamored with the book and with the movie and like
Mhm.
so passionate about making it, and the rest of the team is feels the same way, like they're just really ready to make it, which is great. Like nobody is saying like, hey, we got to hold our horses here. It's all
Mhm.
like, when can we get it done as fast as possible, which is a great position to be in.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
Okay.
exciting.
What
Yeah.
would be your dream cast for Sloane and Rowan? Like if you had
Mm.
obviously they have
Yeah.
a cast, there's gonna be real actors, but like if you
Yeah.
in your mind's eye, like who were you picturing for Sloane when
I
you're
find it so hard because I think it's so down to the chemistry of the leads, and I would have to see
Mm.
that together and how they play off each other. And we are all like in total agreement that it's like chemistry is the number one thing. Like if we don't get that
Mhm.
right, nothing else will work.
yeah, you can like dye
Um,
someone's hair.
Yeah, exactly. I really like so I don't actually know if she would be a good fit for Sloane. Actually, she'd be a great fit for Lark. But I love Elle Fanning because she can do all the things. Like she's
Mhm.
so funny and she can be completely badass and she can be vulnerable. I think she'd make a really good Lark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
could see that.
yeah,
Mhm.
she's just, and she can be bubbly and yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
so talented. I really like, there's an actress named Amber Midthunder who is in the movie Prey, which is in the Predator franchise, which immediately
Mhm.
gives her like 10 extra points in my head
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
love her franchise.
Mhm.
Yes.
She is amazing. Same kind of qualities. Like she can kind of do anything and she can be really tough. And she can also be kind of reserved and a little bit more like she has this savvy kind of vibe to her. And then for dudes, I don't know. Like I really like Bill Skarsgård and like
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
I like, but it's got to be somebody who can do the accent, right? And I think he would
Yeah.
Yeah.
do it. Nicholas Holt has been tossed around a little bit. I like him
Okay.
a lot too.
Mhm.
It's hard though. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think like we just want people who are gonna come and show up and like go to work and love the book and love the script.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
That's
very
awesome.
cool.
Do you guys have any fan casting?
I don't know. Those are some good fan casting. I'm trying to
Mhm.
think of who I was thinking of. Put on the spot. Do you
It's
guys have?
so fun. I always think of the girls. I never think of the guys, I guess, in my head because maybe it just, like you said, it just would be out about the chemistry and stuff. But I don't, for Sloane, I just figure someone so badass. I kind of thought, and now I can't think of her name because I'm blanking, but she was in the first Knives Out as the main character. What's her name?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Anna,
Yes.
Because
yeah, I
like
know what's it.
she seems so sweet in that movie. I don't know
Yes.
what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
She
she
seems sweet in
was
the
kind of a
movie.
badass
And
too.
then at the end, when
Yes.
she's holding that coffee cup, I'm like, she could kill someone. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. She's
Hmm.
great. Yeah. I like
Hmm.
her. And she was in one of the was it Mission Impossible movies
Yeah, she
very
was. Yeah,
briefly, and
Hmm.
she was
Yeah.
really kick-ass in that too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
Hmm.
she just did the isn't it the girl who did the John Wick
Yes,
spinoff?
yeah, yeah,
ballerina.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
dude,
was amazing in that.
yeah,
Well,
so good.
duh.
yeah.
Yeah, that's such a good choice.
Hmm.
I don't know if he would be like if he would. I don't know who he would be for. I don't. I guess he could be any of the brothers, but one of my favorite guys is Aaron Taylor Johnson, and I believe he's
Yes.
British, but he could. I feel like he could be
Good.
one of the brothers, any of
I think
them.
he
Hmm.
could too. He might actually make a really good Lachlan too.
That's exactly what I was
That's
thinking,
what I
that
was
he'd be a
saying.
good
Maybe
Lachlan. Hmm.
Lachlan, but I was like, I don't know. He could be like Rowan. I don't know, but anyway, but yeah, we got some good. We'll
Hmm.
see. We'll see soon.
We
We'll find
basically
out.
got it casted now.
Yeah.
So we might as
We
well.
did the hard part for them. They're very welcome.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we threw out some people. Okay, these are just some rapid fire questions about you personally, just book questions. Okay, what would you say is your favorite romance trope? Like
Mhm.
that you like?
I like hurt hair a lot,
Hmm.
actually. I like,
Oh,
yeah.
interesting. I feel like that is, I don't feel like I read that a lot,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
or I
always
can't find
more
good.
the, it's not the big one in a book, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's
Hmm.
sort of,
Yeah.
yeah, but I like it. When it appears, it always gets me.
Some good yearning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
good yearning.
Especially
Okay,
when it's like enemies to lovers, and then
yeah.
like one of them is forced to look after the other one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's
yes, for sure.
satisfying.
All right, what's
Hmm.
a romance trope that you secretly dislike?
Oh, and I make no secret about
Oh,
it.
okay.
I don't like most of the time, 99% of the time, I don't like a baby in there because
Oh,
pregnant,
like a
but there's
kid.
a
Same.
pregnancy or
Same.
something. Yeah. The
That's
only
funny.
Kills
exception
it.
I've encountered so far has been in Elsie Silver's book, the one that had Thea, was it Theo?
Oh,
No.
Reckless.
Yes.
I haven't read it, but don't ask me why I know that it's that one, but I know it's that
I like
one.
that book. Yeah. Normally I don't like pregnancy because I just remember how fucking miserable it was to be
Mhm.
pregnant. I'm like, I don't want to go back.
Ever.
You're You're like, I'm trying to escape in my reading.
Yeah, I'm trying to escape real life, man.
That's funny.
I don't ever read pregnancy either. I have to agree. I have a kid, and I can remember when we started this podcast, I was 8 months pregnant, and it sounded like I was
Oh my
running in the
God.
first few episodes. I was literally like,
She's just breathing into the
There.
microphone.
yeah, it was
No
terrible.
lungs.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that's
Like,
right.
these women would not be getting it on while they're, like they're just trying to survive.
So true.
Okay, do you prefer to write like in the morning or in like the evening?
Usually more in the evening. Yeah.
Or
It's a
Mm.
little quieter because otherwise it's like a lot of emails coming through as well. But I think that's when
Mm.
I hit my stride a bit more is like afternoon. Yeah.
Mm.
Do you like to write with music on or in silence?
I prefer it with music, yeah. And all like that's a lot of the reason why I put the playlist in the books is like I'll write with that playlist. So that's and I refine it like the entire time that I'm writing as well. And then particularly like when I have a scene that's like really romantic or really intense or whatever, I'll usually have like one song that's on repeat as I'm writing the scene because it just gets the vibe, right? And my husband will
Yeah.
eventually be like, "Oh, can you please stop? Like, pick another song." But yeah, I prefer it with music. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, do you prefer books that make you laugh or make you cry?
I guess it depends on my mood.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If I want to be like sad and morose, I probably pick something that makes me want to cry. But if I'm in like a more bubbly mood, I'll probably pick something that's, I'd say something happy. Yeah. I like to
Mm.
read with my mood. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find it harder to write books that are funny or harder to write ones that are like sad and that make people cry? Like,
I
as a
think it's
writer
like
versus a
same
reader.
kind of thing, right? Because I like to put both in a book. So
Mhm.
that's part of the reason why I'll often have like five, maybe five different scenes going at the same time, especially when I'm like really making some headway into the book. I'll have like different chapters so that like going simultaneously so that if I'm in a good mood, I could go to one of
Mm.
the like chapters that I think is a little lighter hearted or whatever. And if I'm in a sadder mood, I can go to one of the darker ones. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Gets you, yeah, in different headspaces.
Yeah.
Okay, do you prefer plot driven or character driven books?
Character driven. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. I like to be in their minds and like seeing, yeah, just seeing more of their feelings and interactions and why they're doing things that they're doing and not just because they're kind of like forced to do it because of the external environment. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, last one. Do you prefer the hero or the villain?
Oh, villain 110%. Yeah.
Yes. Love it.
Always, even when I was a kid, it would be like, I don't see what's so wrong with that one. Like,
Hmm.
a bad guy, like, oh, we can fix him.
We can fix them.
It makes them more interesting.
That's
Uh-huh.
awesome. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Even back then, I love it. I love it so
Oh,
much. Well, thank you. We can wrap this up. Stacy, if you want to tell her
I
about.
do have one question. Is
I
that
Oh,
do.
okay?
hi.
Sorry, I do
sorry.
too.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
Chanel. Yeah.
So your female characters in your books are just amazing. And if so, it's kind of two questions in one. One, if you can, do you have a favorite of your female characters? And two, do you relate to one more than the others?
Um, it's hard to pick a favorite because it's kind of like for a multifaceted reason because it's also like the characters are almost like time capsules. And so and a book is almost like a time capsule in a way. So sometimes it can be hard to like separate that from like whether you objectively like one more than the other
Mhm.
because they're like intertwined with all the time that you spent writing them.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's kind of hard. It changes often. I'd say Harper is one of my favorite characters that I've written for a number of reasons, and that book, like Taurus Season, is one and the sequel as well, have a lot of like importance to me. So it's hard to like strip her out and say like that
Mhm.
one, but she's a very strong contender. but I think also Kiri in Marrow, she's probably the most like me, I would say. Like I don't
Mhm.
ever like self-insert. They're always characters always feel like totally unique people in my head, and I know that they are influenced by things that I admire in people or things that I like or don't like or whatever. But I'd say just personality wise, she just kind of happens to be similar to me, I'd say. Yeah. And
So
she's fucking
cool.
batshit crazy, which is great. So much
The
fun.
best.
Yeah,
The
it's
crazier, the
so fun to
better.
write. I
Yeah.
loved writing Kiri. She was so fun. That whole book was really fun because it was for me, like I got to read half of it as I was writing half of it. Like because I was doing all of Kiri's chapters and Trisha was doing all of Jack's chapters, and I never knew, even though I was ahead by a chapter or two at a time, like I never knew how Jack was going to react. So it was also like, oh, it's very special to me because that was such an unusual experience of writing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's cool.
How cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So this might seem kind of random, but probably not. One of my favorite aspect of the books are these animals that are in them, like Sloane's cat, and then obviously the raccoon like stole my heart.
The
Barbara was like my
best.
favorite thing ever. And there's one in Taurus season 2. And is that something you intentionally knew you wanted in them, or just kind of like fell in naturally with the books? Because you're an animal lover, I think, right? I think
Yeah.
I read about you, you're about you, and it was like that you rescue animals and stuff. So,
Oh yeah, I'm always picking
Mhm.
up stuff and like really into animals. Like we used to have a farm, and we raised like cattle and pigs and all kinds of stuff and horses, like we did horse breeding. So we have horses at home, we have dogs
wow.
and
Hmm.
stuff. But I've always had like even since I was a really little kid, like an affinity for birds and like would find and pick up like injured birds or nestlings that fell out of their nests or whatever and like hand raise them. So I don't know, I just always love having an animal companion
Hmm.
in books. I think they provide like great opportunities for like humor and
Hmm.
empathy of characters and stuff. And Morpheus in particular in tourist season, when we had our first farm, there was a raven that I did name Morpheus who would come around
Oh,
to our place often. We had a lot of crows, but not as many ravens. And he would
mm,
come around and you could get fairly close to him before he would fly
hmm,
off. But I loved to watch him because he was such a shit disturber. And we had this like huge indoor arena that was like a canvas building. And in the summertime, we would have like there were these big roll-up doors on either end. So we would keep those open and like people would ride in the indoor arena and stuff. But the birds would come and go from it, and all the swallows would like nest in it, and birds would like to find cover in it because it was just like freaking huge, right? And he
hmm.
would go in there when he was bored, and he would fly in these circles, these huge circles, just to scare the other birds, like just wind them up. And it would be like this thing of birds flying everywhere. And then he would go and sit on like the hay bales or whatever, and he would just watch them. Like he's like, I did this. But I thought, wow, he's like, he's got such a personality. It's so cool to watch.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's why I brought him in. And they're so like amazingly intelligent and can talk and do all these incredible things. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
so cool.
I loved his character. I went down this rabbit hole, whatever, on TikTok forever, where this woman had a pet, one, and would like, it would bring stuff back to her. She had like a little box. It would like put it in the box, like the thing. It was amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're so smart. They're so
yeah.
smart. And they can like mimic your exact voice, like
Hmm.
just so intelligent. It's yeah. I hope that people like go down that rabbit hole because they're really fascinating creatures. And even
Yeah.
fully wild like that one was, it's like you are purely doing that for your own entertainment, and I love
Mhm.
that for you.
Hmm. Yep. Just to fuck shit up. I
Yeah,
don't.
love
Yeah.
it. Love it.
Gosh, that's funny.
Uh,
That's awesome.
hmm.
Okay, okay. Do you guys have any other questions? We can finish this up and do some kudos.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Stace.
Okay. Well, first, I just want to thank you for being on. Since I first read your first book, and B&B was how I got introduced to all of your stuff, and now I'm obsessed. And I feel like I like different reads like that. And it's so great to find authors who write outside the box and can make things funny and sad and serious and have the trauma and the fixing it and everything and just being so complex. So, yeah, thanks for being on tonight. I was super excited and trying not to be too awkward. So,
You weren't awkward at all. It was
yeah,
so
great.
great. It was so fun. I had a blast and it went by so fast. So thank you so much for having me. It was super fun.
Yeah, for sure. I want to.
Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. I had one more question and it's so random, Chanel. I'm so sorry.
No,
And then we
go
can do
for
your
it.
kudos. Okay,
I'm
okay.
loving
So
Yeah.
I've been trying to get Ashley and Chanel to watch the TV show Hannibal for since it's been out. Do you watch that show? Or I told Ash, I was like, I wonder if she watches Hannibal and she's a fan. It feels like a vibe with some of your books.
I started watching it. I'm not a great like watcher of things lately. Like I love the movies. Like I love
Mm-hmm.
Silence of the Lambs and stuff, but getting into a series for me is a little hard.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
okay.
did get into it at first and then like probably watched like half or maybe more of the first season, but I haven't continued on with it. But I
Okay.
really did enjoy it, and I love the casting is like immaculate. He is the
Mm-hmm.
best Hannibal. He's so good. Like
He's so good.
and Sir Anthony Hopkins, of course, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
no pressure. Yeah.
That's
I
literally
would
me.
never.
I watched the first half of the first season, but I need to get back into it because it was a really good series and it's really good. And Brynne, we need to get back into
I'll just harass everyone offline. I'm always asking people, like, have you watched this show? Let me talk our Lord and Savior Hannibal, please. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then I
He's
just, especially your first book with like the accidental cannibalism, it's just so funny because I was at work in such an inappropriate time. I was like, everyone needs to read this book. There's accidental cannibalism in it. Everyone needs to read it. And no one's like talking or looking at me. And like, I was
Well,
just like,
because
it's so
that's how I
good.
knew that she would love this book. She was obsessed with Hannibal. So I was like,
Uh-huh.
it's got this romance, it's got serial
Hmm.
killers, which, Stacey and I are obsessed with like
Hmm.
serial killer podcasts. I was like, it has cannibalism, it's like funny. I was like, this is
funny
all her
cannibalism.
things. This is Stacey wrapped up in a bow. So yeah, that's
See,
why.
Hannibal Lecter is one of those I like. I remember watching Silence of the Lambs. I'm like, they need to get together. I'm sorry, but
Yeah, yeah.
like, there's nothing wrong with that man. I
It's
he might
fine.
eat people, but I'm sure it's
Mhm.
fine. Like,
Yeah.
They
it's
deserved it,
fine.
so it's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
there's a good reason.
Yes, for sure, for sure. I'm watching that. I was watching that movie too, and I was just like, yeah, why is he so interesting? Why is she so interesting? Like, I need to know more about them.
Mhm.
I know, right? Like, yeah, I've got a problem because I thought that was like, I thought he was great. Like,
Yeah,
Mhm.
sign me up. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. Well, okay, I wanted to say thank you. Again, making time to talk with us. Obviously, you're super busy, not only writing, but with your adaptation as well. And I just want to say I am obsessed with Butcher and Blackbird because I felt like I can like still remember lines from that book where I just felt and I do not like friends to lovers. And so I
Yeah.
think your mission was
Hmm.
accomplished where
Yes.
I
Same.
reading that book, I was like, I am a converted fan because I felt so seen. Like this dark girl who does not want to be seen, and this guy is like for sure is her friend. And I just don't know. And I got with my boyfriend recently and we were friends and I was just like, oh my God, this is why is this me anyway? Okay. I
It's
just
all
Yeah.
coming together.
it's
Well,
all it's all
I'll never forget that you said that because I've always thought about it trying to change the person's mind who thought that like the dark romance stuff was not for
yeah,
her,
yeah.
right? With the friends to
Hmm.
lovers, I wanted to change her mind. And instead it worked the other way around, which I love that even more. So it's like
Yeah, yeah.
and it's
It
like, oh, that's
I
perfection.
yes, I just
Love it.
loved it so much. I was just like, oh my gosh, this, like you said, it was just all coming together. I was like, friends to lovers, no way. But in this dark romance, and like I said, I just felt so seen, especially the last like epilogue, last chapter when he was just like pouring his heart out to her and her as well. And then, like I said, I just got my first boyfriend, and I was like, Is this me and your friends? Now we're lovers. Like,
Yeah,
It's about
anyway,
me.
it's about
Oh,
me. So
I
yes,
love it.
thank you, thank you. Okay, so
Hmm.
Ashley, you can go.
I won't take up too much more of your time because I know we've taken up a lot of your time, but I do have to just tell you this quick story. Because I told
It's just gonna be
them
20 minutes, no big deal.
no, I'm gonna wrap it up. So I was listening to Scythe and Sparrow on audiobook, which it's amazing. But I'd gotten home, got out of my car, I had been playing, but it just shuts off on its own. But then like I guess a couple minutes later, my husband like jumped in my car to go to the store or whatever. When he came back, he's like, "What are you listening to in there?" I was like, "It's just a book." I was like, I could not figure out like why he was so alarmed or whatever. When I got back in my car, because it just automatically, I guess, started playing. I won't make any spoilers in case people haven't read it, but it was like a cotton candy scene from. I was like, are you kidding me? I'm like, I only hear about this stuff on TikTok, but like, of all the places to end this book and for him to get in this car, it's that scene in this book.
He's like, what do
So
you
That's
do in your
so
car?
funny. That's
like-
so funny. And the same thing happens to Lachlan in Leather Lark.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I was like, oh my God, how
Oh
did
my
this
God.
happen? But anyways, but yes, thank you so much for being on and making time. This is seriously a dream come true for us. You're amazing. This has just been
Mhm.
incredible. And I just cannot wait to see all the successful things coming your way.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. That is so
amazing.
fun.
Thank
Yeah, it was really fun. So thank you for having
Oh,
me. It went
yay.
by like so fast.
It went so quick.
Did.
Maybe we can pick your brain again sometime because it's
yeah.
pretty cool up there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a fucking
In a
trip.
non-creepy way. I just mean like, yeah.
Don't worry, you can pick it in a creepy way too.
Can
She
you tell us
will.
where people can find you on social media and then when tourist season comes out?
Sure. So you can find me mostly on Instagram and TikTok. I'm not even sure I remember what my handles are, but I'm there. If you look me up, it should come up, Brynne Weaver. And then tourist season comes out on the 23rd of September.
So
Ooh,
soon.
I'm so excited.
Soon. So
Yay.
soon. It's
Everyone
crazy.
check it out.
Thank you.
Yay.
Yeah.
Stacey, you want to lead us out?
Yeah. Okay. So thanks for listening in, everyone. Nerds, make sure that you read what you like.